I think it's time for another from image to embroidery file. The last one I did was in April. Did tucks. I've learned quite a bit since then, and I think I can give some better tips and tricks. So on this one, we're going to do a little cartoonish butterfly. Have your document properties set to the size that you want to embroider. I'm doing this for a 7x5" hoop. For our metric folks, 177.8 by 127. So you import. There's our cartoonish butterfly. Tip number 1, make the image the size that you need it to be before you do your trace bitmap. I'm going to lock in this lock button right here to make sure that it keeps its dimensions and size it to the size that we want it to be. There's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, if you go through the trouble of break apart, clean up, fixing everything, and then you decide it's too big, you may create errors after you have a valid embroidery file. You resize it down a little bit or quite a bit, whatever you need. You could introduce new errors. So size it the size you want it to be. Reason number 2 is most of the time when you're bringing an image in, it's going to be bigger than what you're going to be making for your embroidery file. And that's just extra work on your computer. If your image is really big, you go to trace bitmap, you might lock Inkscape up. So size it down to what you need it to be. Make sure it's highlighted. Go path, trace bitmap. Have a lot of options here. Brightness cutoff. Almost everything single scan is, in my opinion, not going to work. It works good on black and white sketch types. I'm just playing around with some settings here. I'm going to do a multiple scan color more than likely. Edge detection. You may use that. If you're going to do something like that, you're probably going to draw it out and then do a satin stitch. Color quantization. Yeah. About all you're going to get is black and whites. It's neat. Auto trace. Honestly, auto trace never works for me. The preview for auto trace is awesome. If I apply, that's all I get. And it doesn't matter. I'm going to delete that and now make sure that you select this or it won't update. So I'm going to set this up really high. Theoretically, it should do better, right? Hit apply. I get the same exact thing. So I'm not sure if that's a Linux thing. I have watched Inkscape tutorials where that works for people. So try it. It may work for you. It doesn't work for me. I'm going to click the multiple scan, brightness steps. Select that image. Brightness steps does the same thing as the other single scan did. Grays is actually really good, but you'll only get black and white gray colors. Color, what I'm going to use. And I'm going to set this scans number all the way down to 2. You can't set it lower than 2. The number of scans is the number of colors you're going to get. So I'm going to get 2 colors, a color, and another color for the background. And if I hit apply on that, that's exactly what we get. If I go to 2, that gives me 3 colors, the background color and 2 colors of the image, which is really nice. That's certainly something you could use and sketch out, or stitch out rather. So not bad. And again, the actual what I get is actually what the preview shows me. Pretty darn close. So go to 4, hit update. There's another color. 5 is another color. 6 is another color. 7 is little bit different color on the eyes, a little more detail, 8. And then I get the shadow on the body. And then 9, I get the little yellow down here. And I think that's it. So I have a 9 color image, basically what I have. And I'm going to go ahead and do all of that. Because why not, right? I'm going to hit apply. Close that out. Go to my objects layer. This image right here is the original image. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Get rid of it. Don't need it. I've got this now. This is a vectorized bitmap. Awesome. We're getting there. So you can look at what paths we have, and we should have a different, each path should be a different color. That path right there is the background. Almost always your background is going to be the very bottom path. I don't want a background, so I'm just going to delete that. And you can see what it is just by hide and show. So pretty cool. So those two things are the same color. That's pretty cool. And then the shadow, and then the outline, and then the eye and mouth. Okay, so we're going to go from here. Anytime that you do a trace bitmap, the second thing you do is break apart. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like if you don't do that. Third thing you're going to do every time is clean up document. That will get rid of your small fills. That will get rid of your attribute D equals 0 error. Should, maybe. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do a troubleshoot. It is going to give me errors because I've not done the things that I said you need to do. So I want you to see what it looks like. Lots of unconnecteds. The unconnecteds are break apart errors. And then small fill will not keep you from, that's not an error, it's a warning. It will not keep you from stitching your item out. But I don't like even warnings. So you get a troubleshoot, unconnected, it will tell you how to fix that. Extensions, Inkstitch, fill tools, break apart, fill objects. That's it. And then small fill. Okay. I'll show you. The cleanup document will get rid of that. So go to your troubleshoot layer and just delete it. Okay. Before you do your break apart, go into fill and stroke fill and select this node right here. Any past self intersections or subpaths create holes in the fill. You want holes in the fill. You don't want it to automatically fill holes. That's what this one does. We don't want that. So select that. Now go into extensions, Inkstitch, fill tools, break apart objects, fill objects. Sweet. Now, if you go into your objects, you'll see a lot more paths now. That's fine. We can work with that. So if we do extensions, Inkstitch, now keep in mind that I said I do a cleanup, but we're going to go ahead and troubleshoot. Should be all that's left is small fills. We don't even have that. So in this case, you don't have to do a cleanup document. If you do a cleanup document and it don't need it, it's just not going to do anything. Troubleshoot, cleanup document, hit apply. 0 elements removed. So that's it. I mean, that's good. So let's see what we have. If we excellent. Okay, so one of the things that I've learned since doing tucks is if we select the node tool and we go in here, I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see how many nodes there are. 1,000 nodes in this object. What about this one? There's 1,000, there's probably 2,000 or 3,000 nodes in that object. Yes, I don't know how many. Look at all those nodes. That is just crazy. So what we're going to do is select the image and then go to Path and Simplify. Now, look how many less nodes there are. So many less nodes. This is something we can work with a whole lot easier than what we had a minute ago. That's Path, Simplify. Awesome. That is going to be your new friend. So now that we've done that, I'm going to do a troubleshoot. Troubleshoot objects. Border crosses itself. All of a sudden we have border crosses itself. And that's because we did simplify. You do simplify, make sure you do a troubleshoot afterwards. Not a problem. And I'm not sure which one it is. Somewhere there, border crosses itself. Now, most of the time, let's get rid of that troubleshoot. Delete. Select the whole image. Most of the time, you can fix that by doing another break apart. So let's see if that's the case here. Let's do another break apart. Hit close. Now we'll do another troubleshoot. Excellent. It worked in that case. Most of the time it will. So this is actually stitchable right now. I'm going to go Extensions, Inkstitch, Simulate. So let's see how it stitches out. Alrighty. It looks really good. That's not bad. Let's see what the realistic looks like. Alrighty. We do have some jump stitches that can be avoided. If we do the green first and the pink first and the purple first, actually if we do everything but the yellow body, we can probably avoid most of those jump stitches. And then I prefer, that's a fill stitch, that little antenna is a fill stitch. We're going to turn that into a satin stitch. I'll show you exactly how to do that right now. I'm going to click on this level here so that it will be inside of this. I'll zoom in a little bit. And these can be selected individually. Control, hitting the control, holding the control button, and clicking will select those individually. So they can be deleted after we get our satin stitch made. And satin stitch, real simple. We're going to turn off snapping so I can put the cursor where I want it. We're going to draw a straight line right up the middle, fairly close to the middle, doesn't matter too much. And follow it around. Hit enter. Take the node tool. Control A to select all, and then we're going to round them out. They don't have to be exactly in the middle, but I do want them to be smooth, not jaggedy. Jaggedy. Jaggedy's a word. All right. That one right there. Okay, that'll be fine. Now we'll go into fill and stroke object. Let's see what 2 looks like. Let's go a little more. 3. Again, 3. That's not too bad. Fix that one. Okay. 3 is pretty close. Except for millimeter. Okay, I want at least 1 millimeter thickness. That makes a better satin stitch. And that's still pretty close to what it was. So we're going to go 1 millimeter. That makes for a better satin stitch. Gets too small, a satin stitch doesn't look right. That's what we're going to do. And extensions, Inkstitch, satin tool, convert line to satin. Outstanding. Going to do the same thing over here. Hit enter. Nodes tool. Control A to select all nodes. Round them out. Well, that looks pretty good. Go into the stroke style. Do that one at 1 millimeter. Extensions, Inkstitch. Satin tools, convert line to satin. Outstanding. So they didn't end up inside there anyway, but that's fine. I'm going to put them in there just by doing this. Down at the bottom, that's fine. We'll move them around as needed. I do want to hide one of them for the moment because I want that color right there. And then this dropper, you can pick the color. I want that color. Go to fill. I'm going to copy that color. Come back out and then unhide that. Okay, we want to go to stroke paint, and I'm going to paste that color in. Same thing on this one. On that one, okay. Go to fill in stroke, stroke paint, and make that same color. Now I want to get rid of the old antenna. I'm going to hide both of these. That one's already selected. And just delete. And same thing with that one, just delete. Unhide those two, and there they are. Outstanding. Now, I want this yellow to be last. Probably last period. And I want this yellow to also be last. So I'm going to group those two by color. Go to edit, select same, fill color. Just those two only, that's fine. And group. And send that group to the top. Now it'll be last. Going to do the same thing with this one. 45, 43. Those are actually together, so that's fine. I'm going to do the same thing anyway. Select same, fill color, and a group. Yeah. That is my shade, yes. I actually want the shade to be after the body color, so we'll send that to the top. That should be the only one that color. It is. We're going to send that to the top. I want it to actually be the last thing done. Maybe the antennas will be last. I don't know. But I think the antenna is the same color as that. So let's find out and select same fill color. Yeah, it's a fill color. That's right. Hit group. And I'm going to go ahead and put those two antennae into that same group right there. Which one did I do? That one. By doing that. So now, if you're on a flatbed machine, a single needle, you don't want to change out unnecessarily. So we'll go with that. And I may want that to happen first even. I don't know. We'll figure it out. What is that? Okay, that and that. That's the pink. Yeah, I want the pinks to be first. Actually, I think I want the green to be first. It should be that one and that one. It is. We're going to drop that down. I'm not going to worry too much about grouping those two. And then the pinks. And then, the green, pink, the darker pink, then the inside bits. I think I'm going to change my mind on that. I want the inside bits of the dark to happen first. If you catch it just right, if you have things sewing over the top of jump stitches, they get hidden and you don't have to worry about cutting them. That's where my brain's going. That's why I'm having a hard time with this. I'm going to move that back up. And then the eyes we'll just have to trim. I think I want the smile to be a satin stitch, but we'll worry about that later or another video. I'm getting a little long. Let's see what it looks like now. Let's do a visualize. I should do a troubleshoot, but I didn't really change that much. The only thing I changed was the satin stitch antennas, so should be all right. All right. Speed this up. Zoom it along. I don't want to zoom it along too fast. I want to see the jump stitches. A little faster. Now, what I can tell, it looks like the only jump stitches that you would have to trim if your machine don't actually trim are these two right here from the antenna. Not bad. So let's do a realistic real quick and see if I'm right. Outstanding. And just like I said, okay, you got a little bit of a jump stitch here. It's peeking out right there. So yeah, we may have to adjust that. We can actually fix that by doing this color last. And then it would come over the top. It'd be easier to trim in that case. But right now, trim this one, trim that one. Probably fix it so that this color is the last thing to stitch, and those would trim real easy with a little pair of scissors. Other than that, man, that looks good. That looks really good. In the next video, we'll pick this one up, and we'll have fun with some parameters and getting a better outcome on fill stitches. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.